Hello everybody and welcome back to the HLTCO YouTube channel. If you follow me on Twitter, you will know that I am absolutely beside myself with joy at this exact moment in time because 45 minutes ago-ish, Steve Parish tweeted to say that he was delighted to confirm that Michael Olise had put pen to paper on a new 4-year contract at the football club. It completely blows out of the water any of the speculation that had been circulating about the £35 million release clause that was in his contract. It blows out of the water any stories about him going to Chelsea. It means that we have him for at least until the end of this season. I don't know if there's a release clause in the deal. If there is, I would imagine it is far higher than the £35 million release clause that was initially there. It's come completely out of the blue. I can't. The reason I am doing this video so quickly is because I feel it is important for me to react as quickly as possible to news. That's exactly what I said on Monday, and it's what I will continue to do for the rest of time as long as there is air in my lungs. But in this particular instance, I have run up to my office from my downstairs area of my house. I have turned on the camera and I am reacting as live as possible to this news. I have made no notes. I am talking off the top of my head, and if I am trying to think logically about the reasons behind this, it becomes very clear to me that this is probably only a year-long thing. Even though the contract itself is 4 years, I would imagine he has had a significant wage bump because of the contract offer that was on the table for Wilfried Zaha. We all know that was £200,000 a week over 4 years. That was £41.6 million. And whilst I'm not 100% sure what Michael was on prior to this new contract, I can guarantee you that it was nothing close to £100,000 or £150,000 a week. But given his value to us, given what he has brought to the football club over the 2 years that he has been on board, and his importance to us moving forward without Wilfried Zaha as part of this first team squad this season, even though he is injured until the back end of September and early part of October, I'm sure Steve Parish, Dougie Freedman and all the other stakeholders behind the scenes at the football club have said to him over the last 48 hours, look, you can go to Chelsea, the release clause is there, we all know it's there, but is it the thing that is best serving your career at this point? Are you a guaranteed starter? You've got to get up to speed with that squad. It's a new group with Pochettino in charge. There's going to be all sorts of competition for places as part and parcel of that Chelsea first team unit, whereas at Crystal Palace, you are a guaranteed starter every single week when you're back to full fitness. And if there is a release clause, and I would imagine at this stage, I have no way of knowing if there is, but if there is, then I'm sure it will be far higher than the £35 million one that was initially in the deal, because why would you bother going through the rigmarole of signing a new contract anyway? If that is the case, and it's and this is me purely picking figures out of thin air, there may not even be a release clause, so don't use this as a hard and fast fact, but if there is, then you would assume it would be 60, 70, 80 million pounds, thus giving us far more in the way of value for money when he does leave the football club. I've been very open about the fact over the last 2 years in terms of this project at Crystal Palace, that players like Abir Eze, Chet Doucouré, Mark Gay, Michael Olise, they are not signing for Crystal Palace so they can be on our books for the rest of their careers. They don't want to emulate Jim Cannon. They don't want to break appearance records in Crystal Palace colours. We are a London-based Premier League club that give an opportunity to young players to put themselves in a shop window, play extremely well, get the backing of the fans and hone their games. And that's exactly what Michael Olise has done ever since he arrived from Reading. It's why he has become so highly valued to every neutral in the league, and it's why everyone from a Crystal Palace perspective, myself included, were absolutely fuming at the prospect of him leaving for just £35 million, because even though we only paid £8 million to get him from Reading a couple of years back, his progress over the last 2 seasons has been so astronomical that £35 million felt like a genuine robbery. It felt like a drop in the ocean compared to his true worth, and if he had gone to Chelsea for that, you would have been looking at them having an opportunity to sell him in, say, 6 months' time, potentially, for double the fee they've paid. Whereas now, a new 4-year contract has been signed. As I said, the details of that and whether there is a release clause in it or not remain to be seen. But if there is, you would assume it was far higher. There may be no release clause in it at all. I can't imagine that, because it was the exact reason we got him away from Reading in the first place, and it's why he agreed to join Crystal Palace. But I think Roy Hodgson, Steve Parish, Dougie Freedman, whoever, has clearly convinced Michael and his representatives that across this campaign in particular, with Abir Eze still here, with that midfield base of Jefferson Lerma and Chet Doucouré, See, I can't even talk properly, and normally I would edit that out, but I'm not going to because it's a live reaction and everyone can tell that I'm a little bit buzzed. So with that defensive midfield pairing of Chet Decore and Jefferson Lerma in front of Mark Gay and Joachim Andersen, you've got Ebbs in the 10. Once Michael Olise returns on the right, you've got Matthias França, who can float in whichever position across the attacking line that you want. We're going to add a couple of bodies. We all know that. There is a budget to do that. But, you know, the whole conversation I had on a Michael Olise video that I uploaded yesterday spoke about us shopping in a slightly different level because of the £35 million fee we were set to receive for Michael, and it looked to be signed and sealed. You know, every single report we have had Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, for Christ's sake, talking about the deal being done. Both of those. They're never both wrong, and yet somehow Steve Parish has pulled this out of the bag. I'm not sure how it's happened, I'm not sure why it's happened, but right now I am just beyond words happy, because it means that all of the doom and gloom around Crystal Palace, losing Wilfried Zaha and Michael Olise in the same summer, can dissipate. And we can go into this season with that base in the defensive midfield roles. Michael back to full fitness in October on the right-hand side. Ebbs pulling strings in the 10. And even though Wilfried Zaha is gone, we've got Matthias França, a young Brazilian coming in from Flamengo who can hopefully hit the ground running. And a couple of additions. You know, the Lewis Hall stuff, him going to Newcastle and that whole situation is something which has undeniably frustrated everybody. But then you look at the back over the net from Crystal Palace here, the story has come completely out of nowhere. You know, I was sat there in my lounge, just going about my day. I saw the tweet from Steve and I was just thought, what is going on here? And obviously, if you look on my Twitter account, you can see how emotional I am. And sometimes I do think this, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, admittedly, at the end of this video, but I feel like it needs saying. Because I record a Palace podcast every day, Monday to Friday, have done for a couple of years, and talk about the football club online every day, I sometimes think that people within our fan base can think I'm a little bit detached or a little bit unemotional when it comes to Palace. Believe me, I live and breathe this football club. It means the absolute world to me. When I am not thinking about my family, I am thinking about Crystal Palace FC, as sad as that may sound to some people. So this news on a random Thursday afternoon when I'm just sitting there minding my own business, for it to come out of nowhere is just mind-boggling. And so often in football, you don't get this. You know, transfer stories, they take 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes to come to fruition. Everything here pointed towards Michael Olise leaving for Chelsea. I'd got myself over it. You know, the mourning period was gone, and yet we find ourselves at 1:26 p.m. with me rambling away on a YouTube video with joy in my heart at the fact that we are going to have at least one more year of Michael, if not more. I don't know if there's a release clause. I don't know what we will now sell him for. I don't know anything really, but I wanted to come onto YouTube and react as live as I possibly could. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, give the video a like, push subscribe, because I'm really trying to build this channel as quickly as I can and as organically as I can. Thanks very much. I'm off for a beer. Cheers.